So my next guest, it's fair to say, has probably never taken no for an answer. FedEx consumed some $90 million in venture capital before it ever flew into the block in 1975. In the early days, just making payroll was a challenge. Legend has it that the pilots sometimes had to refuel their planes out of their own pockets. And at one point, Fred Smith is said to have made payroll partly from his $27,000 blackjack winnings. Today, FedEx and Fred Smith have clearly arrived. FedEx is in 212 countries, but he absolutely positively did not get there overnight.
It's every entrepreneur's dream to see a company get off the ground and become a household name. And few companies are more familiar around the world than FedEx, from Europe to Vietnam. Founder and CEO Fred Smith has built a global powerhouse with $19 billion in annual revenues.
We started off with our first hub in Memphis, and then as we became a very big force internationally, we've got one in Miami for Latin America, one in Anchorage, which is sort of interesting because a lot of people don't realize that Anchorage is equidistant from New York, Tokyo, and London.
Revenues from FedEx's international shipments grew 18% last year, the company's fastest growing segment.
International, there's still tremendous growth opportunities because you have countries coming from third world status to industrialized status.
FedEx has gone out of its way to cultivate business with China, even providing free transportation for 2 pandas to the National Zoo in Washington.
We painted up one of our planes and christened it the Panda One and flew the 2 pandas safe and sound into the nation's capital, where they're quite a phenomenon there in terms of the local community.
FedEx recently signed a deal to purchase 10 jumbo jets from European consortium Airbus to ferry the growing number of packages to Europe and Asia.
Obviously, we think we paid too much. Airbus thinks they gave the airplane away, but...
No question.
Today's FedEx has moved far beyond the business Fred Smith described his senior year at Yale in a term paper, which received a grade of C because the idea was so far-fetched.
I'm delighted. They had a nice thing about him on their website, so he's real excited.
After serving in the Marines during the Vietnam War and working in his stepfather's airplane parts business for a year, Smith created Federal Express, so named because an early business plan involved transporting checks among Federal Reserve banks. Smith located his company in Memphis, near his native Mississippi, and in the center of the U.S. The innovative idea was to use the company's own jets to fly all the packages to Memphis in the middle of the night, then reload them onto outbound jets headed to their destinations.
Just developing the express market, which was the start of this company, really created an industry.
I know it's last minute, but is there any way you can get this to Birmingham?
With the company's name now shortened from Federal Express, FedEx is well positioned to take advantage of today's emphasis on speed. It has lucrative contracts with clients like Dell Computer, which makes every product to order.
FedEx will take the different products from the suppliers, consolidate them to an assembly facility where the product gets assembled, and then the finished product comes out of that facility and gets delivered to the customer by FedEx.
Because of its sophisticated technology that tracks planes, packages, and weather conditions anywhere in the world from its Global Operations Command Center, FedEx today considers itself a logistics and information systems company as well as a transportation company. And FedEx was an early embracer of the Internet. 2/3 of its customers now use the Internet to print shipping labels and track packages. FedEx's biggest competitor is United Parcel Service, which has better profit margins thanks to dominance of the less costly ground shipping business. So FedEx is now investing in fleets of trucks to beef up its ground transportation services.
This is Main Street America.
Beautiful.
Fred,
yeah,
there you go.
Thank you very much.
But FedEx recently signed an agreement with another competitor, the U.S. Postal Service, estimated to add $1 billion a year to FedEx revenues. FedEx will carry 2 to 3 day priority mail plus some overnight express mail and first-class mail on its jets. FedEx also gets to place its drop boxes in post offices for the first time.
The Ranger changed the fate of the United States.
A student of military history, Smith says his service with the Marines in Vietnam, where he was awarded 2 Purple Hearts, helps him take setbacks in stride.
When you go through something like that, you sort of keep dollars and cents in perspective. So I've always had fun and never looked at business as, life and death.
An attitude that should help keep FedEx in ship shape in the shipping business for years to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder, chairman, president, and CEO of FedEx Corporation, Frederick Smith. Welcome. Henry. You have said that business, making money, is not life and death. You got out of Yale in 1966. Pretty much anybody at Yale in 1966 who wanted to could have legally avoided service. You enlisted in the Marines.
First, let me just make sure that I get one thing corrected here, Jeff. You told this audience that I made a C grade on my term paper.
Yes.
I just want them to know that was a very good grade for me. I was very happy to get that grade. I just wanted to get that point of clarification.
So I want to follow up on that.
To answer your question,